Boxing truth here. It's going to be a slow month of October as HBO and Showtime are going to be going dark. But the boxing fans are in for the treat for the closeout of 2016, as there's going to be a lot of 50-50, 60-40 type matchups. HBO and Peter Nelson are finally delivering for their closeout of 2016 after a very shaky start of the year. Only a handful of good fights, a lot of showcases. Budget cuts were the issue. But boxing fans can thank Canelo Alvarez. They can thank him for taking the rest of the year off, as a proposed $4 million license fee that HBO was going to pay Canelo has been scrapped. They can put that money to good use, and they've been doing that. Fights have been finalized. Peter Nelson is finally delivering in his first year as heading the boxing division at HBO. Lomachenko Walters is signed, sealed, and delivered for November 26. More money was offered to Nicholas Walters for him to be comfortable to take the fight. That's a great fight on paper. Will be a great fight in the ring, action-wise. Also, another fight was recently announced for December 17th, as Orlando Salido, a guy who's been in a number of Fight of the Year candidates, he's going to be fighting Takeshi Miura, a guy who was in a Fight of the Year last year against Francisco Vargas on the Cotto Canelo undercard. So Salido Miura at the Forum on December 17th. It's going to be another high action fight, another war Salido's going to be in. And it's going to be a can't miss slugfest on HBO December 17th, which is going to be a triple header, as Golden Boy is going to be promoting that card. So they're going to see Golden Boy clients on the co-feature slots, perhaps Joseph Diaz, maybe a Shabransky, who knows? That's still yet to be revealed. And all Peter Nelson and HBO had to do is put the icing on the cake by finalizing the fight between Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs, and what will be a very strong closeout year for HBO in 2016, if they can definitely get that Golovkin-Jacobs fights finalized, which I feel there's a strong chance it will happen, since I just don't see where Jacobs is going to go if he doesn't take this fight. There's no other alternative out there. It's just hard to believe he'll turn down this fight where he's going to get a career-high payday. He gets the chance to fight a unified middleweight champion for a lot of money, a lot of exposure, and possibly in his hometown at the Barclays Center, or maybe Madison Square Garden. And it's just hard to believe he'll turn this fight down, considering there's really nothing else for him to be offered on the PBC side, since there's limited dates available. A lot of their guys on that side are inactive for whatever reason. The time by agreements Heyman has, those guys are not providing dates. Very light schedule in the fall. So where is Jacobs going to go? Either he takes this fight with Golovkin for career high money and a chance to become a unified middleweight champion, or he sits on the shelf if he doesn't take this fight, or possibly gets put in another undesirable fight for less money, a fight that won't build any momentum for him. So he might as well take this fight for career high money and a chance to get a significant win in his resume. So I see that fight getting made for December 10th. And of course, the Andre Ward Sergey Kovalev pay-per-view, a worthy pay-per-view fight on November 19th. And as a result, if that happens, Golovkin-Jacobs on December 10th, Walters-Lomachenko on the 26th of November, Salido-Miura on December 17th. Well, it's going to be a triple header. That's a strong closeout year for HBO. It's those fights just salvaged one of the weaker years HBO has had. And I'm expecting Showtime to close out strong as well, since PBC the time-buy networks are not providing any dates to Heyman for whatever reason. Perhaps budget cuts on that side, since the hedge fund money appears to be running dry. So Showtime are going to provide dates for Heyman, pay license fees. Instead of Heyman paying the network's money, he's going to get paid to put on some fights on Showtime. And there's some fights I'm expecting to get finalized on that side for Showtime. And what's only going to be great for boxing fans, as Showtime and HBO are going to be competing with each other, so they're going to be putting on some significant fights. 2016 is ending with a bang, I'm telling you. We're going to be getting a lot of 50-50, 60-40 type fights. It's exciting just talking about it. Now on the Showtime side, I'm expecting the Mikey Garcia Dejan Slaktichanin fight to be finalized for the WBC lightweight title. A great fight, very risky fight for Mikey Garcia. I really give him a lot of credit if this fight happens and he ends up taking the fight, because it's not an easy fight, especially coming off the inactivity that he's been coming from. It's going to be very intriguing to see if he can win it. Also, I'm expecting the fight between Jamal Charlo to have his mandatory defense against Julian Williams. Another very good fight on paper. Could be a very good fight in the ring, considering both guys' styles. Both guys are aggressive, come forward. They like to get in there and fight. And it's regarded as a 50-50 matchup. One of the best matchups that can be made in the 154-pound division. We're finally going to get some more answers on these two guys who they've been around, but they haven't really fought the quality of opposition. We still don't know a lot about these guys, but now we're going to find out some answers between the two of them, as I expect that fight to get finalized. Also, another fight I'm expecting to be finalized is, it was supposed to happen earlier this year, but Abner Mares fighting Jesus Cuellar. That's a good fight. It's a significant fight for both guys. It's also a fight for Mares to get back to where he was at, back on the top of the featherweight division after taking an L to Leo Santa Cruz. And that's another good fight on paper. Should be a good fight in the ring. And perhaps maybe Danny Garcia will get his cherry pick out of the way at the end of the year. And there's definitely going to be other fights. Anthony Joshua's next fight's going to be televised by Showtime. It's a lot of stuff going on for Joshua's next fight. Everything is changing every day. First, it's going to be Joseph Parker's the front runner. Then now, perhaps David Price is going to get that assignment, or maybe Vladimir Klitschko if they can find a way to make a unification fight. So perhaps Joshua's going to be in the big one for November, or maybe not. Maybe it will be a domestic fight against David Price. But I'm excited for what's going to happen for boxing for November and December. It's going to be not much to talk about in October. It's going to be pretty much nothing to talk about. There's not going to be boxing on none of the premium networks, but there's going to be fights going on around the world. In the UK, there's a fight this Friday between two at lightweight, a very deep lightweight division now. The lightweight division is popping, as Peter Petrov is fighting Michael Perez on a Golden Boy card. There's a show box. There's still going to be boxing, just not at the highest of levels. Also, there's going to be boxing around the world. It's a global sport. It never stops. And November, December is when it's going to be popping for American boxing fans. It's going to be big fights every week. Also, Pacquiao Vargas. That's going to be a good fight in the ring. And also the stacked undercard Bob Arum has provided for the pay-per-view. 3 very good world title fights on the undercard. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm hearing. And the competition between HBO and Showtime just makes it more exciting for the fans. A lot of big fights, a lot of significant fights, a lot of 60, 40, 50, 50 type fights where it's going to be hard to pick a winner. And I can't wait to see it. Very strong year for boxing to close out of 2016. And I'm sure y'all excited. I'm excited. Can't wait till November to get all these fights rolling. The announcements still have to be made for a number of fights on Showtime. I expect them to come out with a strong schedule like they did earlier in the spring. And it's going to end up being another good year in boxing for 2016. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.